Hi, I'm Micah, 23, and 2 weeks ago, I learned my graduation party was cancelled, for my sister's feelings. No joke. My college graduation, 4 years of honor rolls, working 2 jobs, and getting my degree early, all just disappeared from the family calendar. And not because of budget issues or a scheduling conflict. No, because my little sister, Lily, felt left out. Let me tell you how that unfolded, in 6 parts. It started with a cake catalog and ended with a meltdown in the group chat. Graduation had been the light at the end of my sleep-deprived tunnel. I was the first in the family to go to college, let alone graduate early with honors. My mom even said, "We're going to do it big." She had group texts going with my aunts, asked about cake flavors, even got quotes for those balloon arches that look like they ate a unicorn. It was locked in. June 3rd, backyard. Catered barbecue. Until Lily had a bad day. She's 16, a junior, and apparently struggling. That's what I was told when I got the phone call. "Hey, honey," my mom said, voice all too sweet. "So, we've been thinking maybe it's better to tone down the party." Tone down. Try erase. "We just don't want to make Lily feel worse right now," she continued. "It's been a hard semester. Her counselor said comparison can be really damaging at this age." I sat there holding the phone, stunned. Wait. Are you canceling my graduation party because Lily might feel insecure? Silence. Then Dad chimed in, speakerphone ambush. "It's not personal, buddy. You know we're proud. But we have to keep the family balanced." Balanced. They said balanced like I was the one rocking the boat by achieving something. That night, I got the text that confirmed it. "We're just going to do something small with just us. No party. Hope you understand." Hope you understand. I didn't. I sat in my apartment, staring at a half-inflated, class of 2026, balloon I'd bought for fun. Then I called my best friend Dan and said, "Change of plans. We're throwing this party ourselves." Dan's a menace in the best way. "Copy that," he said. "Time to go rogue." He created a secret group chat called Micah's Actual Party. And that's when everything flipped. Because it turns out, people wanted to celebrate me. They just didn't want to ask permission from my parents to do it. Overnight, we had volunteers for food, decorations, music. Someone offered their house, bigger backyard, fewer emotional landmines. My boss at the cafe offered to cater for free. "You earned this," she said. "Your parents can stay home and protect feelings. We'll celebrate the facts." And just like that, a new plan was born. Except, the old one. My parents hadn't told anyone it was cancelled. So Aunt Renee still showed up at their house with a balloon bouquet and a confused look. And that's when things really exploded. Aunt Renee is the kind of woman who wears lipstick to the mailbox and can start a war with a single raised eyebrow. So imagine her face when she rang my parents' doorbell with a "Congrats Micah" sash, only to be met with my mom in yoga pants and a sheepish, "Oh, we decided not to do the party." "Excuse me?" Renee said, holding a cake box labeled "Micah's Big Day," in pink frosting. My dad tried to smooth it over. "We just figured something low-key made more sense. For, Lily." Renee didn't blink. "Lily's not graduating. Micah is. What does that have to do with anything?" And boom. That's how the great graduation debacle of 2026 began. Within the hour, Renee had lit up the family group chat with, "I'm at the house. No party. No Micah. No explanation. Someone better start talking." My cousin Jade jumped in, "Wait, what? We all made plans. Micah said it was June 3rd. Then my mom finally posted, "We canceled to be mindful of Lily's mental health. Please respect our decision." Let me tell you, respect our decision has never once stopped Aunt Renee. You canceled your son's graduation party for someone else's feelings, she texted. Are you trying to invent a new kind of parental sabotage? Meanwhile, I was sitting in Dan's basement eating taquitos and watching this go down like it was a live reality show about my life. Jade DM'd me, tell me you're doing something else. We'll come. I replied, Saturday. Backyard. Dan's. Bring extra chairs. It's on. And that's when I posted my own message, privately to the family chat, not public. Not petty. Just a screenshot of the invite flyer my friends made. Micah's actual grad party. Graduation cap honor roll. Dean's list. First gen legend. Round pushpin Dan's backyard 4 p.m. food, games, music. Collision come celebrate what matters, earning it. No shade. Just facts. My parents didn't respond. But Lily did. She sent me a text that just said, so now you're making me look like the villain. And that? That hurt more than anything. Because I wasn't trying to make her feel small. I was just tired of feeling invisible. But things were already in motion. The party was happening. And whether my parents came or not, that was on them. Because I had a feeling what came next was going to reveal a lot more than who brought dip. It was going to show me who actually showed up. And who stayed silent when it mattered. The day of the party, I woke up to a thunderstorm. Of course I did. I stared out the window, watching the rain pummel Dan's patio, and muttered, perfect. Then Dan walked in wearing a poncho, holding 2 umbrellas and a megaphone like we were storm-chasing grads. We pivot. Tents, garage, living room dance floor. We adapt or we die. I laughed, because somehow I needed that. Needed someone who wasn't trying to guilt-trip me, manage optics, or center someone else's fragile feelings. Just a friend in a plastic poncho with a plan. By 2 p.m., the clouds had backed off just enough for us to set up the party under a tarp tent and borrowed canopies. Jade brought cupcakes shaped like little diplomas. My cafe boss dropped off trays of sliders and fancy lemonades in mason jars. People started to arrive, old classmates, neighbors, even 2 professors who drove in from campus. The vibe was pure joy. Music, laughter, those foam, #1grad fingers someone brought ironically. At one point, someone handed me a hand-painted sign that said, Micah did the work. Now let's do the party. But guess who hadn't arrived? My parents. Or Lily. It was 4:45 when I saw a familiar SUV pull up down the block. My stomach dropped. They stood there for a second, Mom in a pastel cardigan, Dad in that relatable dad polo he wears for appearances. And Lily. Hoodie up. Arms crossed. Face like thunder. They didn't walk up. Just, watched from the sidewalk like they were deciding if this counted as a betrayal. Dan leaned over and said, should I put out the emotional hazard cones? I rolled my eyes. No. Just, gimme a sec. I walked down the driveway, slow, heart pounding. Hey, I said. No one replied for a beat. Then my dad said, we didn't know it was going to be a public thing. It's a graduation party, I said. Kind of the point. Lily spoke next, voice clipped. I told them not to come. I knew you'd make it about me. That stopped me. Lily, you made it about you. I just graduated. I worked 4 years for this. And somehow, I still ended up apologizing for being proud of it. Her eyes flared. You know I've had a rough year. I have too. I snapped. But no one asked if I was okay when I pulled all-nighters or had to turn down internships because I was working double shifts. You know what I got for graduating early with honors? A canceled party and a text that said, hope you understand. Silence. Then Mom finally said, we didn't handle it right. We thought we were protecting Lily. I shook my head. No. You were avoiding discomfort. There's a difference. Lily looked down. I think that hit her. And then, from behind me, cheers erupted. They'd started the speeches. Dan, on a picnic table, megaphone in hand, ladies and gents, our guest of honor. The man who took finals, shifts, and family drama and still came out on top, Micah. Everyone clapped. I turned back to my family. You can come in, I said. But you're here for the celebration. Not the control. Lily bit her lip. Dad looked like he might argue. But Mom? Mom nodded. Just once. And said, okay. We walked up together. I didn't know it yet, but what happened next would shift everything. Because someone else decided to speak. And it wasn't who I expected. Dan handed the mic to Jade first, which, in hindsight, was both brilliant and reckless, because Jade treats every public moment like it's a TED Talk mixed with stand-up. She clinked a soda can like it was champagne. Tonight we're here to celebrate Micah, first gen, future legend, and the only guy I know who's rewritten 5 cover letters in line at Chipotle. Laughter. Micah's parents, seated awkwardly under the tarp now, tried to blend in. Lily sat stiffly, earbuds half in, arms still crossed like she was in a hostage video. I kept glancing at them. Wondering if I should feel guilty. Then Jade went quiet for a second. Micah, she said, softer. I watched you grind. When you didn't have money for books, you rented by the hour. When your boss shorted your paycheck, you still showed up. When no one clapped for you, you clapped for yourself. So today, we clap loud. Cheers. I couldn't move for a second. Just stood there, lump in my throat, brain trying to translate kindness into something I could absorb. But then, Lily stood up. No one asked her to. She just walked to the front, tugged one earbud out, and said, "Can I say something?" The music died like someone hit mute. My entire spine tensed. So did Dan's, who looked at me like, should I tackle her or trust her? Lily stepped forward, hoodie half zipped, voice already shaking. I didn't want him to have a party because I didn't want to feel like I was the failure, she said. Silence. She blinked fast, like tears were loading behind her eyes. But this isn't about me. It never was. And I think I needed to say that out loud. My mom gasped, but Lily didn't stop. Micah's been carrying this whole family's expectations and pressure and pride while pretending it didn't crush him. I threw a tantrum and he still invited us. That's more grace than I gave him. She looked at me then. I'm sorry. For making your win feel like a burden. That did it. Tears. From somewhere deep. She walked toward me, slow, then hugged me like we were kids again and not two strangers tangled in years of weird family dynamics and misplaced guilt. I hugged her back. The crowd clapped again, softer this time. Realer. Then Lily stepped back and added, also, I may have accidentally deleted your name from Mom's cake order. That part's on me. Everyone lost it. Even my dad cracked a real smile. Even my mom wiped her eyes like she was seeing something she hadn't dared look at. Me. Not just the achiever. The person. After that, we danced under the wet tarp. Ate soggy cupcakes. Someone's uncle brought a karaoke machine. Jade sang, unwritten, like her life depended on it. It was chaotic and beautiful and mine. But just when I thought we'd wrapped the final surprise, my dad pulled me aside. And dropped a truth I did not see coming. We were by the driveway, near the grill that had long since gone cold, when my dad motioned me over like he was about to give me a secret mission. He looked, weirdly nervous. Micah, he said, voice low. I need to say something. I braced myself. For what, I wasn't sure. A lecture? Another awkward attempt to smooth things over. An apology that somehow still centered Lily. Nope. I didn't go to my own graduation, he said. I blinked. Wait, what? He looked down at the gravel, kicked at a soda tab with his shoe. Senior year, your grandfather said it was a waste of time. That if I was serious about work, I'd skip the ceremony and start the next day at the mill. And you did, I said slowly. He nodded. First shift started at 6 a.m. I was there by 5:45. I stared at him. I'd never even heard this story. I guess. I told myself it didn't matter. That walking across a stage wasn't the point. That the real world doesn't care about caps and gowns. He exhaled. But the truth is, I've regretted it for 30 years. Something heavy dropped in my chest. He looked at me then, eyes tired but clear. I saw how hard you worked. And I think maybe, part of me canceled that party because I didn't know how to celebrate what I never got. Oh. There it was. Not malice. Not favoritism. Just, an old scar passed down like a family recipe no one asked for. I'm sorry, he said. You deserved better. From all of us. And for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel like a problem to be managed. I felt like a person being seen. I nodded, still stunned. Thank you. That means more than you probably realize. I realize it, he said. I'm just late. Then he reached into his jacket and pulled out a card. It was one of those cheap ones from a gas station rack, the kind with glitter that never stays put. Inside, it said, "You did it, son. We see you." And yeah. I cried. Not ugly sobbing. Just that quiet, sudden kind. Like something cracked open and all the stuff you'd been carrying could finally leave. He patted my shoulder and added, I still don't understand your major. Communications. Exactly. We both laughed. And just like that, something rewired between us. Not fixed. Not perfect. But different. Later, Lily handed me a plate of the cupcakes she'd helped ruin and said, "You can tell people I publicly apologized. Once. Don't get used to it." "Oh, I'm getting it framed," I said. And that night, I sat in Dan's basement with 3 leftover cupcakes, a paper crown on my head, and 20 text messages from people saying thank you for inviting me to something real. It could have ended there. Should've. But the next morning, I woke up to a Facebook post from my mom. And things got messy. Fast. I woke up to 17 notifications and a sinking feeling in my gut. There it was, front and center on Facebook. Proud of both our kids, even if some things have been misunderstood. Family means knowing when to sacrifice. 2 hearts. Q, a photo of Lily. Holding a cupcake. With a caption, "She's been through so much. We're so proud of her strength through Micah's big moment." Micah's big moment. Reduced to Lily's character development arc. I didn't even have to scroll far before the comments started. Lily is such a good sister. So selfless. A true example of grace. Some siblings could learn from her. You raised amazing kids, even when one tries to make it all about them. That last one had a laughing react. From a cousin I barely talked to. Dan sent me a screenshot with the caption, "Did your family just post a graduation party recap where you're a side character in your own life?" I stared at the screen, stunned. It wasn't rage. Not even sadness. Just exhaustion. The kind that sits in your spine and makes you want to lie down in the middle of the driveway. Then I got a text. From Lily. I didn't approve that post. I told her not to. I'm sorry. I believed her. And I realized in that moment, she was trying. But my parents? They were still stuck. Still addicted to the narrative where Lily is fragile and I'm sturdy. Where everything I do is impressive but inconvenient. Where boundaries are drama, and calling something out means you're too sensitive. I didn't reply to the post. I didn't message my mom. Instead, I posted my own photo. Me, standing in front of Dan's tarp tent, soggy diploma cupcake in one hand, actual grad paper crown on my head, and a crooked grin on my face. Caption. I graduated. I worked. I earned this. And I threw a party with the people who showed up. No shade. No spin. Just truth. Sometimes, that's the most loving thing you can post. No tags. No @s. No war. Just my story. On my terms. Later that night, I got a call from my mom. I didn't pick up. Then a text, "We need to talk." Maybe we will. But not until she learns the difference between sacrifice and spotlight theft. Not until she understands that celebrating me doesn't mean erasing Lily, and vice versa. Not until she gets that love isn't a scarcity game. And definitely not until she stops trying to narrate my life like I'm a background character in hers. That weekend, I got a card from Lily. Handwritten. Real. Inside it said, "I hope this was your moment. You earned it. And I see you now. For real." I pinned it to my wall next to my degree. Not because I need constant reminders. But because some apologies, when they're real, deserve to be framed. The next Monday, I started my first job at a media company downtown. New desk. New laptop. Nameplate that said, Micah James, Communications Associate. First email from my boss. "You're gonna do great here. We throw real parties, by the way. Hope you're not too emotionally scarred." I laughed out loud in the office. Not because it was funny. Because I finally felt free. Not the kind of freedom you get when you escape something. The kind you get when you stop asking for permission to be proud of yourself. And you throw your own damn party anyway.